Everybody, welcome to the Keto Mom page. My name is Stephanie. This is my amazing husband, Steve. We escaped Minnesota. We're currently in Florida. It's actually a really fast trip, so we're here for business. But we just landed. It was kind of a long flight.
Supposed to be historically the worst blizzard in Minnesota history.
Ever.
And we got out.
Which our kids are still there. They're with Grandma.
But they're okay because Outer Banks starts tomorrow, so they're really excited.
All right, so as you're tuning in, we normally do morning lives, right? We want to work on your mindset. We're going through a book called
The Power
to Change. And so we're going to take it piece by piece. There's just like little segments of something to read, going through what the book is talking about, giving you an action step. If you're following along, you already watched the other videos. So you've already watched it. We started on Monday. We started a couple days ago. At any point in time, if you miss a live, they're all recorded.
It's all recorded. Just hit new down below. We can send you the last couple messages.
Or you can go to ketomomsecrets.com. You can click on Mindset or Book Club, and you can go watch all of the books that we've done for the last almost 2 years. And so we're diving into The Power to Change. We're super excited. I think you just finished the book on the airplane, didn't you?
I did. Yep.
He said, this book is incredible. I'm taking the book along with you, so we're going through it piece by piece, but I thought, why don't you get us started? We're going to walk through the book. Hey, if you don't have the book, it's okay. You can follow along here. If you have the book, that's great.
All right, so today is 1.2. That's the chapter. It's Stagnation through Behavior Modification. Now, how many of you have ever tried to do something over and over and over again, and you try to willpower it through? So here's some fun examples. I'm going to start reading my Bible every day. I'm going to stop watching so much TV. I'm breaking up with my boyfriend for real this time. For real this time. Have you ever said that? I will not yell at my kids anymore. I'm going to quit smoking. Fill in the blank. I'm going to quit whatever that may be. I'm going to stop hitting the snooze button so I can start getting to my work 5 minutes earlier instead of 5 minutes later. Stephanie, why do we make these declarations and then fail to follow through?
I have to put the book closer to me so I can read it. Hey, so really quick, as you're tuning in, if you don't know and you've never seen our morning lives and you normally tune into the afternoons, you're like, hello, normally you talk about keto. All right, morning live, turn to the afternoon, just so you know, and there's plenty of recipes here for you.
It's all good. Sometimes it's good for y'all to just switch it up.
We're switching it up on you. All right, so have you ever found yourself making an excuse? Why do we make these declarations and then fail to follow through? Could it be that we've tried to change that what we do and we haven't changed what we think of ourselves? That's what the book is about. It's about your identity, what you think of you, because if you keep trying to eat healthier, not hit the snooze button, not yell at your kids, not spend so much money, like go to the gym, like whatever it is, but it's not working and you're doing it over and over again, we're diving into the modification of you, not just modifying a behavior.
Remember, you do what you do because of what you think of you. And so this book is really focusing on the who before the do.
Right. So it says, this is a formula for failure. We cannot put do before who, but we do. We do it all the time. We decide to change what we do. So the problem in trying to change what we do is it's called behavior modification, and behavior modification doesn't work. It's super interesting because we've gone through a book called Atomic Habits, and I was like, man, this book wasn't out yet, right? But then I realized he actually quotes the book Atomic Habits. His name is James Clear, the author. And so it's not just in this book. I think oftentimes a majority of books that are helping you switch your habits really focus on the do, but there is a lot of mindset in them too. I just love this book because it's really honing in on, let's look at you. It's going to get to the root cause of it. We're going to pluck the roots out, and we're going to make this work. We're going to make it stick.
Yeah, this is good. So if you target the behavior you're going after the wrong thing. Right. So if it starts to sound redundant, it's because it's starting to make sense. Your awareness is starting to come to full fruition of maybe that's why Stephanie's been telling me for so long, listening to Keto Mom, it's about my mindset.
Right.
It's about my mindset. So if you try to change your behavior without changing your identity, it's like pulling out a weed, but you're not going to get down to the root if you don't change what you're thinking.
Right.
So how many of you have ever gone out and then you see the dandelions all over your yard and you just go start pulling the yellow things off, right? And you're like, oh, this is great. The kids have a lot of fun doing that. But if you don't get to the root, that dandelion's going to come right back.
Right.
if not even in more full force.
Right. It says that. It says if you don't ensure a weed doesn't come back, a weed doesn't come back, you have to reach down and pull it out, and that, like the visible part, like we're taking care of okay, if your goal is to, like the behavior modification, if your goal is to eat healthier, and all you're doing is like focusing on, I've got to have the keto recipes, I've got to get up earlier, I have to go to the gym, and you're focused on the action, but you actually don't even know what causes you to overeat, or causes you to sleep in, or causes you to make excuses not to go to the gym, that's the root. Yeah. The root is, why are you not doing those things? Why do you eat out of emotions? Why do you eat out of habit? Like, why are you eating because you're bored? Why do you eat because, like, it's just to bring in awareness.
Yeah, so we've talked about the habits that we're starting. We've talked about the habits that we're stopping. But what Stephanie's, I think what she's really trying to say is it's about getting to the point to where you start to understand those underlying beliefs.
Yeah.
Of why you say what you say, why you think what you think.
Yep. He says motivation and willpower are only both limited resources that you will deplete quickly. Behavior modification does not equip you with the power to change. He goes, the reason that you haven't experienced long-lasting change is because you've tried to alter what you do instead of changing how you think of you. He goes, it's hard to change your habits if you've never changed the underlying belief that leads you to your past behaviors. Does this make sense?
Yeah. I got a fun story. So think of it this way. She's talking about willpower and how much willpower you have. So for me, how I would relate this to myself is when it comes down to either going out to eat or let's just say a family get together.
Yeah.
I go there with like full focus of like, Stephanie, I'm not going to eat the bread pudding. Stephanie, I'm not going to eat the dessert. Yeah. Stephanie, I'm not going to eat the donuts. And so what happens is, like, perfect example at a birthday party, I'm not going to eat the birthday cake, right? But what happens is I go by it the first time, I'm like, yes, I didn't eat it. Mm-hmm. I go by it the second time, you're like, yes, I didn't eat it. The third time you're like, but I could probably just eat half of it. I mean, there's a piece it's a tinier piece. I could eat it. So then what happens? How many of you have ever been there? Anybody relate? You keep saying you're like, I'm going to change this, I'm going to do that. But what happens is you run out of that willpower. It eventually just fades away.
Right.
And then a lot of the stuff that I would do in the past is I would then justify like, oh, I can just intermittent fast tomorrow. Or, oh, I can just fill in the blank, whatever the case may be.
Right.
So if this is resonating with any of you, our hope is that you start identifying some of those underlying beliefs and it brings awareness to the conversation that you're having truly in your mind.
Right. So good. So we're not going to read all the stories to you. He takes it from a scientific level and a biblical level and talks about what the Bible says. He talks about what the scientists say, how they watch the brain, or even what God says in his word about, honestly, the behaviors and your thought patterns and renewing your mind. Oh,
can I say that?
Yeah.
It's going to change your life. Go read Romans.
It's going to change your life.
Verses 1 through 2.
Why don't you read it?
It talks about transforming your mind,
right.
A renewed mind. And I think the biggest thing that I just want to leave you all with would be to change what you do. You need to first think about what you think of you. It goes back to the whole thing. You do what you do because of what you think of you.
Right.
It's so huge.
It is so. And I love this because you guys, the book is incredible. I would encourage you, if you don't have it, to get it because it's a very short read and then it's going to give you can read the action step. Yeah. It gives you an action step. So my hope is, and our hope is, that you take these little actions because they don't take very long and you actually put in the work so that you can figure out the root cause. We're going to pluck the root out and actually start seeing some change.
All right. So we talked about starting. We talked about stopping. That was from the first exercise. Yep. And now today what we need to kind of just write down is think about your day. Think about the behaviors and the modifications that you've attempted with. And just write down your thoughts. Like, how did that actually go when you tried to modify a behavior? And so the third principle, to change what you do, and this is just to recap what we talked about with the story of the birthday cake and everything else. You change what you do, you need to first change what you think of you. So Romans 12:2 says, let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. It is so powerful.
So I need you to explain the action step one more time.
Okay.
Because I didn't actually hear your action step. I want you to tell me.
Action step is to write down your behaviors, the things that you find yourself doing and thinking, and how you've actually attempted to modify those. but due to willpower or due to whatever circumstances, you've kind of just fallen short. It's the same behaviors that you tried to modify for weeks, months, years, the same mountain that you just keep going around. What are those behaviors? We just want you to write them down, and then right next to it, just write down what modifications you actually attempted. Like,
Right.
what did that look like?
I'm going to give you an example really quick. I need examples to understand it. So, like,
That's
if
why
your
I told
goal,
the birthday cake story.
I know, but if your goal is, let's say, I keep having people say, "Help me plan my meals. Help me plan my meals. I need to prepare so my week goes well."
Yeah.
Right. Especially for parents that have kids that are in sports and you feel like you're running around, and so the behavior modification. Hopefully, like, you would get to a Sunday or a Saturday, you're planning your meals, and you're going to do it, and then for whatever reason you didn't, or you didn't prep or throw the food in the crock pot on Monday, or you decided instead of eating the food that you planned on Tuesday, you went through the drive-through.
Right.
Like, there's something that you're wanting to change, but you've got to identify why you're going through the drive-through, why you're not putting the food in the crock pot, like why you are grabbing the candy bar instead of a protein shake. Like, start identifying your actions and then figuring out, just ask yourself, why did I do this? Like, what is the root? Why am I doing it?
I can tell you why I'm talking so fast and I want to shut this live off is because we turned off the air conditioner because it's so loud. It's probably
loud.
90 degrees in here.
It's
I
hot
can
in
feel
here.
myself sweating profusely. So my behavior would be I'm sweating real badly. Now I need to attempt to go turn the air conditioner back on.
All right. Thank you for being patient with us. We'll come back on tomorrow morning and go through 1.3. You can continue to tune into the page. There's plenty of recipes. You can go to ketomomsecrets.com. Send me a message. I hope you guys have a great day. Scroll through. We've been on this page for 8 years. I keep rambling. We'll talk to you later tomorrow. He's got to turn the air on. Bye, everybody.